Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to All for United. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. I think this is the third instalment, but I might be wrong. Someone will correct me after that. I've got some very familiar faces, but all wonderful people nonetheless, and Connor with me tonight. So, I'm going to get them on shortly. Obviously, we talk about the Derby game at the weekend, and there's lots that have happened over the last few weeks, as well as me going to my first game, which I haven't been able to talk about yet. So, we'll see you on the other side.
Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Hello, everybody. I was only joking, Connor. I love you. I love you very much. Good to have everyone on tonight. Really good to see you all. It's been a few weeks since I've seen you all in the flesh. And I know there's been a couple of games, an international break. We've got another one coming up. So lots to talk about. How are you all? Are you all good?
I was great until that intro. And you just slandered me like that. Who gave authorization for that?
Sorry about that, bro. Listen, I was just joshing. I'm just going to go through some of the comments. Need to get your comments in. Need to get everybody in. I know there's a few people coming on tonight, and it'll be good to see you all to get your comments in. Jonathan, been a few weeks. I saw you at the Leicester game a number of weeks ago now, before the previous one, and Natalie obviously as well. How you doing, mate? And what's the latest from your side?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm dressed up for the show tonight, so I thought I'd wear a shirt because I'm on the main account. No, everything's okay on my end. Really happy with the 5 games that's been played already. Already looking forward to after the international break. I think I've put on Twitter that I will probably be watching the Lionesses with 5 of our players being selected in the squad, which is a big thumbs up. Big thumbs up that they've been selected. Obviously, maybe not a thumbs up if we're worried about their injuries. But for me now, it's all about how many points can we get in the build to Christmas. Can we go through every team and pretty much win every game now, apart from Arsenal? That would be the kind of benchmark that I'll be looking for, and it doesn't leave much margin for error. But these are the things that's going through my head now after what I think has been a very decent start to the season.
Great stuff. Yeah, and you're looking very dapper tonight, mate, I must say. So good to see you in a shirt. Natalie, lovely to see you again. I'm surprised you've still got a voice. For those of you who don't know, she's part of the Barmy Army. I couldn't believe how many songs that they would sing right next to me. Christ almighty, it made me lose my voice. But I hope you're well, Nat. And obviously, Jonathan touched upon the fact that, we got 10 points from a possible 15. Are you happy with that situation at the moment? Would you have expected more? Is this a good benchmark so far?
Yeah, I know that people are probably upset with what the result is, last week at the weekend. But for me, I think it's a good benchmark. I think, we've rarely got victories against City. So I think it's a benchmark in that it's an improvement from where we were to now. I think, we've won against the teams that we expected to win against. So I think we need to be happy with that. Yes, we lost against Chelsea. We're all upset about that. But, we've got a point against City. Good side. No matter what's going on with them, they're still a really good side. They're full of internationals. There's loads of internationals playing that game. So I'm happy. He's done what's expected of him, the manager.
Yeah, great stuff. I'm pleased you're happy. Sorry, Jonathan, go on.
No, sorry, just jumping in on that. I think you can always look at a match and dissect it and find negatives. Sometimes you just have to stand back and think, okay, the bigger picture is we've got 10 points out of 15, 6 points ahead of City. Everyone was expecting City to go into that top 3, and they still may, but it's going to be very challenging for them. We're in a better position than City, so sometimes we just need to stop looking for the negatives and just be happy with the fact that we're doing okay.
Yeah, great stuff. And this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, we do it week in, week out. We like to dissect these games. And it was a bit of a shame. Obviously, the City had a player sent off very early in the game. They were there for the taking. And really, if you look at it, probably 2 points dropped. But, we didn't come away with 0 points. Just wanted to read something that I read today, actually. The Women's Super League derby between Manchester United and Man City on Saturday attracted a record peak audience of 1.1 million viewers on BBC One. the much anticipated WSL Clash held in front of 3,797 with all of you there, I should imagine, and people at the Lee Sports Village. Also saw 114,000 live online streams on BBC Sport. Now that is a massive improvement. There certainly has been some traction in the last few months at least, don't you think?
I agree. I'm going to be the first one to jump in on that because I want to, because I'm going to put a down on it and then a positive spin on it. The one thing I will say, that's great, but I think people need now, if they enjoy what they see, and I think Natalie said this before, now it's time to get to LSV. I know it's not necessarily the best location, people could argue, but let's try and turn some of those fans that watch the game on TV into match-going fans as well, because I'm pretty sure if this was the men's game, you'd be going. So there's no difference. I stress this on every time we do a Bridging the Gap. Just go once. Just go once. I'm gonna use this line already. I found my old message to John, who I'd never spoke to before the summer. Messaged him once and said, "Oh, I'm just looking to see how easy it is to get to one or two women's games. I'll try and get to one or two this year." I'm that hooked. I'm driving to Durham on a Thursday night, which is 4 hours from my house, to follow the team, and that's how easy it is. So I urge people that watch it on TV. That's brilliant, and I hope it continues to grow from that. I'm sure John and Nat will talk about what it was like before BBC and Sky really started pushing it. But that's great. But let's get some people to the stadium, because I think there was rumours that there was over 4,000 sold, but only 3,300, I think it was, turned up. I don't know how reliable it is. I think Nat tweeted it the other day, but that's all I'll say on it. Those numbers are brilliant. Let's keep, I really hope BBC and Sky keep doing it. They keep doing the mini shows they're doing with the players and all these things, but let's get some more people into the ground as well, because I tell you now, once you go, you're not going to be able to stay away.
Yeah, let me just add to that as well. As I mentioned earlier, I went to my first game and met all of you, seen Connor for another time, and it really was a great day. And I feel that the sort of interpersonal connection between everybody really is there, and it was lovely to see familiar faces, meet new ones, and there really is sort of like an electric feel about it, and I think there's also more of a personal feel towards the players. There's a lot more interaction. They love the fact that they're getting the support. They love the fact that they see the same familiar faces, and it's really, really good to see. John, what are your thoughts? Obviously, there is obviously a bigger interest coming. It is growing, and your other thoughts on that sort of thing, and obviously going as well.
It's what we knew that Sky and BBC would bring. It puts eyes on the game, which is what you want for a number of reasons. We've always said that we want extra people at LSV. We want to be able to eventually fill it up, but just to get 3,000 or 4,000 instead of 2,200 is a big thing. And it's great to see John in the comments and Andrew, who've both been to their first women's game in the past couple of weeks as well. And this is what's happening there. This is what BBC are bringing. It's such a big platform that it's not hidden behind the red button. It's on the mainstream, and it's in people's faces. I had a friend who was having his haircut at the barber's. He messaged me during the game saying, "I'm just seeing you on TV." He didn't even know I was at the game. He presumed I would be because he's one of my best mates. But I didn't say to him, "Look out for me." He just saw me because we was on there. Natalie was on there pretty much the whole game. And yeah, people that are watching who don't usually watch. My uncle, who lives next door to my dad, he told my dad that, "Was John at the game yesterday?" And my dad said, "Yeah, we saw him on TV." My uncle doesn't even watch women's football, but because it was on BBC, he just sort of give it a go. And this is the thing, the more we talk about it, the more Sky talk about it, the more that we put it in people's faces. Yeah, 99 people out of 100 might not be interested, but that one person that is interested is another person that can potentially come to a stadium. And this is what I've been saying to Connor, I know I've been saying to you, Connor, and I've been saying to a lot of my friends. If on average 2,000 people turn up, if each one of those people can just transform another 6 more people to a stadium over the next couple of years, it's very hard to do that, but it's definitely doable. But we've got to actively do something to do it. That's why I'm very grateful of All for United and other fan channels out there. I'll happily support other fan channels. YouTube's a big thing. It's a big way to promote women's football. So just keep talking about it. And we can't make anyone go to the game, but at least just plant the seed in their head and give them the opportunity to come.
Excellent stuff. And Natalie, you wanted to come in and talk about familiar feel too.
Yeah. What you said, Mark, just about the connection, the way it is. I mean, yeah, I know you, Mark. I know you just through looking at a screen kind of thing like this. But like you said, you felt welcomed. You felt, a warm feeling. And even like the girls and the other fans that you probably never met before, that's what it's like. it's a community, and that's something that I've always touched, always pressed on from the start. It's a community. It's togetherness, and it's not just togetherness of us in the stand. It's togetherness of the girls on the pitch as well. You know, they feed off what we do. We feed off what they do, and it's so. It's just like one big team, you know. And people say things like, "Oh, 12 player," and you do hear it said a lot. But when they say it, I know they mean it. You know, when they say they're sorry, I know they mean it, because you know, they want the fans to be happy. They want fans to come back. And we talk about, you know, 3,700 that came, and you know, there is things that can be done to make it better. But this is why I say, you know, if people haven't been, talk about why you don't want to go, or talk about LSV, or talk about what would make it easier and things like that. The more you say it, like, I want to come, but I can't get to LSV because of travel. The more you say it, the more likely you might see a change. And trust me, you know, the people are talking now. I think United are being a bit more receptive. They want to see more people there. You know, they're tweeting out more about it, whether that's on the men's or the women's. You know, they're both tweeting about it. So if you do want to come, if you did watch on telly and you thought, you know, that's a bit of me, come. And if you can't, let us know, and we can try and sort of push for change. And you only get change if you speak about it. If you sit there going, "Oh, I want to come, but I'm not gonna," or whatever, then you know, you never will. I think if you just, like Connor said, just take that one chance, do it. And then for me, I hear Connor, and we talk a bit now, and we talk all the time, and I said, you're where I was. I never thought that I would be traveling up and down the country watching women's football, but I am, and I don't regret it. I love it. It's what I do, and it's what it's what I see myself doing a lot of, because I love it, and that connection is real. You know, they really want to win. 100. You know, I'm sure every player wants to win, but the girls, you just feel like they're doing it for the fans a lot.
You feel like you're making a difference as well when you're at the stadiums, whereas at Old Trafford, and I've said this, and one of the things I really wanted to say today was, and I've said this to John on a couple of occasions, because I just found myself doing it, about naming players by the first name, because you feel that more connected. I've never really been on a show. There's a couple of occasions where I might say, but if I'm talking about the men's team, I say Fernandes, Ronaldo, Pogba, whatever. I don't say Paul, Bruno, Cristiano. Whereas in the women's game, I'll always say, you know, Maria, Lucy, Ella, Mary, like that. Because you feel closer connected to the players, and because there's that respect with them, you know, you are kind of almost on first name basis, and that more than most people. But I think so. You have that kind of connection and respect with them. And also on the back of what Nat was saying there about, you know, just getting to a game and all this kind of thing, being a part of this channel is a big part of that, because we will all chip in and help. Like Andrew came to his first game, you know, we sorted lifts out, you know, we all went up together, you know, we all kind of chip in and help each other out, because that's the community feel that you get with it. So those are the 2 points I just wanted to make. Like I said, first name basis with a lot of the players, because it's just a natural. I didn't even realize I was doing it, and it was only watching shows back I realized that that's something that just creeps in. And also, like I said, the community of it. Like if you want to go to games, there'll be somebody that will help you out that lives, even if they don't live near you. People will help, you know, sort lifts out. You know. I think John, we were talking, weren't we? There's going to be mini buses coming from the West Midlands soon. You know, there's not many of us from down here now that go up to games. We're going to have to start getting coaches and things organised, which is just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, Connie just basically just said what I was about to say. If you're sitting there thinking, I want to go to a women's game, but I don't know anyone, I haven't got anyone to go with, that was basically me in the first game of the second season, our first season in the WSL. I didn't have anyone to go with, but I made mates with Natalie on Twitter. I saw people on YouTube. So if you are genuinely interested, but you've got no one to go with, literally just start speaking to us on Twitter, or start watching these podcasts with us. And then just get to know us, and then you'll feel a bit more like that. Oh, I've got someone to sit with, because by all means, you can come to the stadium and we'll greet you. And this is what we want. We want to bring everyone together. We want to fill up the stadium. So, you know, you're not going to be standing there not speaking to anyone, because trust me, we'll all be speaking to you and go for a drink afterwards, or like Connor says, pick you up if you can't drive, or if we can, you know, arrange that kind of stuff. You know, where possible, you know, we will help. Yeah.
There's living proof literally in the comments. You speak to Andrew Wall or John Comodo, obviously I see him in the comments as well. Two people that we just happened to, you know, they messaged one of us on Twitter. We sorted lifts out, saw them at the game, went for a drink before the game and after the game. That's just what we do, you know. Like I said, I didn't know any of the guys that I'm now going to women's football matches with, really, and now we pretty much chat every day.
Know me.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that, but that's what I mean. I don't know a day now, John, where we don't talk. We're constantly, you know, talking about something we've seen, or like I said, obviously the England squad came out today, which I'm sure we'll talk about a bit later on, and all these different kinds of things, because that's the connections you get just like that. I mean, I don't even know what we 5 games in or something like that into the season.
5 games, yeah. And this is it, isn't it? This is what it's all about. You know, I think we said this on a previous show, but you know, we have to drill this home in the fact that, you know, it's been a very, very difficult year and a half. It is about that interpersonal connection. It is about obviously keeping your head above water, and it is about going to things that you absolutely love. And as I said, listen, we've obviously got an interest in this, and we'll shout from the rooftops about it, but it genuinely is a very good unit and an experience that everybody would enjoy. And Natalie hit the nail on the head earlier. It's very easy for us to make excuses about everything, the gym, making food, whatever it might be, and everybody can find that time. And Ugly Bear makes a really good comment there. Great to have you back on, buddy. If Man U women can win the WSL or a trophy, our fan base from the men's game will take notice, and it should excel the women's game forward. Imagine all of our 1.8 billion Man United fans coming along. Now, I think this is a big thing about the club in general, about the hierarchy and what they're trying to do. They are trying to build Manchester United as a club that epitomises both the male and the female teams, and that's been a big thing. And I think there have been comments by John Murto and a few others that have mentioned that, and that's obviously a huge turning point, and hopefully it does begin. And
can I just make a quick point on that, Mark?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know whether Nat or John will disagree with me here, but I slightly disagree with that comment in the fact that it shouldn't take United women winning a trophy to attract fans. I think people, and I'm a massive advocate of this after literally 5 games, that I want people just to try it. Not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone likes the men's game. You know, it is what it is. But people can't criticize it unless you've tried it. So if you go in and don't like it, fine. You know, that's totally fine. But I'm very convinced, because I know I was in this situation. Stu, yourself, Mark, Andrew, John, all these people that have gone to a game once and now they can't stop going, because that's just the kind of hook it gets. So I just urge anyone. It's not about yes, we'd all want to see a trophy this season. You know, I want us to win everything, but I think sometimes you've got to be a little bit realistic on that. Firstly. But also, like I said, there's honestly, after that 6-1 loss to Chelsea, obviously, as you can imagine, usually if that was in the men's game at Old Trafford, I'd have just gone straight home. We didn't. We went for a meal afterwards. We had a chat. And again, it was a good day because of the people you surround yourself with. And I think that is the biggest difference between if you lose in the men's side and the women's side. There's a better feel about the place. Obviously, things might be different if we went on a massive losing run, but I don't think it would be. I don't know whether Nat or John feels any different there.
I don't think it would be, because we went on a bit of a losing run. I mean, when it was COVID and it was hard, John. And we were doing the videos, but we were still remaining positive, still talking about what happened. And I think then, we didn't lose all of them, but there was some games in there that we lost what we should have won. Then we came back, bounced back, and we were positive again. And I think, even I think this team has had a massive, everything that happened when the Super League happened. Ed Woodward resigned. Casey then left, pretty much straight after it. That was the time. That was the time when people might have switched off on the women's game, because there is that still that element of people questioning, there's the club higher up and, what's going on. And that was the time, if people were going to stop, like I said, if people were going to stop coming, they would have stopped it then, but they haven't. And we've broken our record. Yeah, we expected 4,000. I think they expected 4,000 because I heard it on BBC, so whether that's a good source, I don't know. But they said there's 4,000 expected here today, so I don't think they plucked that off thin air. Things happen, people can't come in the end. Okay, I think it was 3,800, so that's close to 4,000. But, I was expecting 5,600, and then, it was disappointing, but, I think we can get there. We can definitely get there, and it's like I said, just try it once. There's been 1 million watched on BBC, so that's 1 million basically in in the UK. And like you say, you travel from far, Connor, so it doesn't travel. We'll meet you off the train. I meet people off the train at Manchester Victoria, and drive them down. We'll always do that, so just have to reach out and tell people, like you say, you're thinking about doing buses from the Midlands, and going up. If you can do it, do it. And if people want to get involved, get involved.
We do try, don't we? Us from the Midlands. Anyway, no, honestly, I echo all of your sentiments, and it is obviously a big thing, and everybody should get involved, because it's definitely something different. I can honestly say that. Just a couple of comments, John. Great to have you in again, mate. Thank you very much for your comments. I'm pleased you were able to meet everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, and I'd absolutely love to meet you in person myself. But he says here, can tell the women's game is growing. This channel has helped me go to my first game on this Saturday. It was great to see you all. The atmosphere was great. I'm trying to get friends to come and watch the team, which is great to hear, John. Keep spreading that news. Keep inviting people, and slowly we can increment and build upon it. He then finishes off saying, "For the women's team can build relationships. The women's team too can build relationships with the team. You would not be able to do that with the men's team. That's a great community feel and a relationship between the fans and the players." And that's absolutely right. I think, unfortunately, with the men's game, and we talk about this on numerous occasions, there is, it has been tarnished with a bit of a negative brush at times. These players are hugely famous or on huge amounts of money, and ultimately, one way or another, they're probably only worried about getting their paycheck. And a lot of these women players, which we've spoken about in a previous show, don't get paid what they should. And it's only really the United team and a few others within the WSL that do get paid enough in order for them to do that as a full-time job. And ultimately, it is about equality and bringing that standard up. And hopefully, at some point, they'll be able to have a full-time job. But if we can build that relationship with them now, it's only going to get better going forward, and they won't forget about us for sure. Thanks for all your comments, guys. Really, really appreciate it. I just wanted to go on a little bit about the derby from the weekend. Obviously, all three of you were there, and I mentioned about the 2-2 draw. Connor, what were your overall thoughts on the game, and where did it kind of go wrong, and what were the great things to see from that?
Okay, I'll start off with the game, because I really just want to talk about the atmosphere, to be honest. The game itself, I think I was deflated coming out. Cheers, Jarvis, by the way. I was deflated coming out because of the injuries that City had, the red card early on. I think it was on 34 minutes or something like that. So you're looking at 60 minutes with a player advantage. But when I got home and looked at that City side, even with 10 players, is still a very good team. So looking back, yes, you could have said we should have won. I mean, the thing is, you've got no right to win any game. Like, you need to earn that win, and we didn't, I don't feel. So a draw is probably right. I don't think we lost. We were certainly better than Chelsea, and that was the main thing for me. I wanted us to control the game better than what we did against Chelsea, because, I mean, we made it almost impossible by going a goal down after a minute by just basically giving them the goal, and we had a couple of mistakes. We didn't really see that. The second goal for Man City was really unlucky, because it was an absolutely brilliant save from Mary to push it onto the bar, and it was so unfortunate it bounced off the back of her head. I can't actually remember the first City goal. Oh, it was I think Mannion just lost the striker, so a little bit unfortunate. But what I liked is like I said, the second half we did come out better, and that's what you want. Yeah, the first half wasn't great, but we came out the second half with a bit more tempo. And I've said this on a few shows on the women's channel, that this team is nowhere near fully firing yet. I don't even think we've got out of first or second gear, to be honest, and that's what I think is good. We're beating teams that we think we should be beating. We didn't lose to City. Yes, we lost to Chelsea, so that's only one loss. We've played 2 out of the top 3. We've lost 1, draw 1. That's not awful. But when this team starts firing, how good this team could become. So that's what I'm looking at. And, there's plenty of positives. And, yeah, just it was the atmosphere is the main positive from Saturday. Anyone who went, or anyone, I don't know how it came across on TV. I think I'm pretty sure they turned the mics away from us, because it wasn't as loud as previous games I've watched back on TV. I know they moved the interviews down to the other end of the the stand we were in, which is typical. But I just want to say that atmosphere is on a par with anything, if not better than anything I've ever experienced at Old Trafford, especially for that second goal. I mean, you just go on my Twitter and look at Mark Skinner's reaction and Martin Ho's reaction on the sideline. I don't think I've ever seen that from a manager in the men's game, and us lot in the Natalie in particular whipping up the crowd. We had people in front of us chanting, people in the south stand that I've never seen chanting away. The whole atmosphere all game was just fantastic. So I'm going to stop speaking. I'm going to let these two below take over on the game and the atmosphere, because I could talk about it all day. It was genuinely one of the best atmospheres I've been in. It's on par with anything at Old Trafford I've experienced.
I'm just going to jump in very quickly and second that as well. Actually, I mentioned that I went to the United Leicester game a few weeks back. That was at the KC Power Stadium, and you're absolutely not wrong, Connor. It is fantastic, and considering at the time there must have been about 4,000 fans, majority of those being Leicester fans. It was very loud, especially sitting next to Jonathan and Natalie to the left of me. But it was amazing, and if we can, as I said, build upon that and be able to fill the full stadiums, it would be unreal. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Just a couple more comments. Karen, I had I was able to meet you the other week. Lovely to meet you. Thanks for coming on. Atmosphere was amazing after that second goal, especially. It was electric. It was loud when Russo scored. Next time I visit Manchester, I'll go to see the women's game. Scouts promise. That's great to hear there, Jarvis. So I just want to talk about the next 3 games, actually, from a United perspective. So I think they've got a game against Durham in the FAWSL Cup. I have seen that it's a group stage. Now, I'm not aware of this. How does that differ, Jonathan, from the FA Cup that we're used to in the men's game?
So it's a league format. The top team of each league automatically goes through, and the highest runner-up also qualifies. So we're in a very tough league. We've got 4 other opponents, one of them being City, Everton, Durham, Leicester. And it's arguably a tough. It can be seen as a tough because we've only got one team that's in the Championship. The rest are in the WSL, but they're all games that we're capable of winning. So for me, it is something that we can qualify for. We've qualified before we've had City in our league, but it's not going to be easy because I think a lot of fans and Mark Skinner as well will want to make changes, and rightly so. So if we put out weaker opposition, the likes of Everton and Leicester and Durham shouldn't be taken lightly. So I don't think it's going to be easy to qualify, but it's definitely doable. Natalie, will be interested to see if you think that we're favourites to get exact group.
Yeah, why not? Because I think that's what we should be going for. We should be pushing. I mean, for anyone men's side who's just sort of learning, this is like the League Cup. So when we have the League Cup, we do it as a knockout formation. So this isn't the FA Cup. It's like a League Cup. Conti Cup, it's called. I know they call it FAWSL League. I don't know what they call it, but it's like the League Cup. And I think it's because they have it as a league format. And I spoke to people in the Championship because it's easier for Championship teams to sort of make it. Championship is the league below the WSL, and a lot of them are full-time now, but still there's teams there that are part-time. Durham being one of them, part-time or sort of building up to full-time professionally. So, it's sort of between the FAWSL and the Championship is part-time, and then you mix them up, and that's how it is. I think there's not enough weeks I think it's basically to give them opportunity to play more games. So Durham will play a lot of full-time teams in their league, and obviously that'll be beneficial for them. Let them see where they're at. They're pushing to be promoted. So, they're testing themselves against a lot of tough teams, but Leicester are near the bottom. So, if they play Leicester and win, it's a good test for them. There is calls that make it sort of like the men's League Cup, have a knockout, because it might make it a bit better. And there's Arsenal and Chelsea are actually getting a bye, which I'm against, into the next round. So they're not going to be in the league, but they're just going to go through because they're in a Champions League group stage, which doesn't make sense in my opinion. You should be told play your kids in one competition, play your full strength team in another. But this is where we're at. You got Durham. I think you got Spurs and then Everton after that. So Spurs and Everton are big games.
Are they league games, those ones?
Spurs and Everton are league games, yeah, I think. And,
and then
Everton...
Arsenal after that as our third league game.
Yeah. But Everton are a team that sort of people, well, Spurs are above us. Spurs are sitting in second, so they've done quite a really good start. They beat Man City. Everton are a team that invested a lot of money, a lot of talk on, they've got all these Olympic players from Sweden, they're going to do this. Man United lost Casey Stoney, now Everton are going to be the next big thing. So, these are teams sort of where if we want to finish third, I would expect us to be winning them. So I expected basically 9 points out of the 3 games that you said, hopefully.
So I was going to ask you about that against. So Jonathan, I'll ask you this actually. So we've got Spurs, Everton, and Arsenal. I think that's right as our next. It's not very clear on Google here, but Tottenham, Everton, and Arsenal as our next 3 Premier League games here. Natty's expecting 9 points. What are you expecting? What would you be happy with from those 3? Obviously 9 points. Everyone wants 9 points, but what's realistic?
I don't know if that was 9 points including.
I was going to say, is that 9 including Arsenal?
No. Look,
Yes.
7 including Arsenal. Let's say.
Yeah, I think you need to push for 7 in the league, definitely. But it's one of them where if you end up getting 6 out of 9, you have to kind of accept that, because I still think if we win every team the same side of the top 3, we'll qualify for Champions League. And then, like Natalie says, pick up the odd draw here and there. We've already picked up 1 draw against City. Pick up a draw against maybe Arsenal's home. Maybe out of the 3 away games, you could pick up a draw against City, Chelsea, or Arsenal. So I do think it's definitely possible. But yeah, it is really important that we do keep on picking up wins against the teams below us. Now, at the moment, the 3 teams that we've won are all the 3 teams towards the bottom of the league. So now this is the next step up. And if you have a look at it, the way that the fixtures have run, I think it's been quite helpful for a brand new manager, because we have had those 3 easy games. So he's kind of been able to have that extra 4, 5, 6 weeks to kind of bed his players in kind of gently. So now, hopefully, everything that he's kind of taught his players about the new way of playing, now that we're coming up against tougher opposition like Everton and Tottenham are, hopefully he can put that into practice and keep on winning from there.
Just a quick question that's just sprung to mind while we're looking ahead to the Arsenal game and things like that. Obviously, in previous years, now, I'm not, in terms of, when I say I'm new to women's football, following it as regularly as I am, but I have been aware of previous years, the dominance of the top 3, so to speak. So far at the start of this season, we've seen Leicester nearly hold a draw at Chelsea. We've seen Spurs beating City. We've seen other games where it's gone that, Everton, I think, held Chelsea for a long, was it Everton or Villa? Villa held Arsenal, for a period of that game and looked strong in the first half. Do you think the influence? I don't know where I'm really going with this, but obviously this season seems to be different to previous WSL season. Obviously, we fully expect Arsenal, Chelsea to run away at the top, and then City, United, maybe Spurs fighting for the final third spot. But does this season feel any different to you two? Obviously, watching it over previous years, where the so-called smaller teams are managing to compete with some of the bigger sides this year. It's just a thought that I've just had, obviously, because we're looking at these kind of games, and it does seem to be closer than what people think.
I don't know if you're mind me going, John, but yeah, no, I do feel like it is closer. I think last year, when we first came into women's game, people said, you got to be, the top three because they beat everyone else, and then obviously then it's a mini league between them. But like you said, we've seen even last year, Chelsea, they lost to Brighton. Brighton are a good team, and I think when potentially we play them or other teams play them, the points will be dropped there. Brighton even beat Spurs, so that's a game to look out for in terms of that kind of thing. And I think Brighton are a good club. They put money into the men's team, and they're putting a lot of money into their women's team. West Ham, good club as well. What they're doing in the men's team, they're trying to do, and I think that's what you're seeing now. Spurs, they're trying to put. It's not just us that are investing, that we're seeing them, putting money into the training ground, this and that. Other top teams, other Premier League teams are now thinking, 1.1 million watched on BBC. There is that demand and drive now, and it's, people want more like one club, 2 teams. There's that kind of mentality now where it's all the same and everyone's treated the same, and we're seeing the investment drive up, and we're seeing, like you say, your West Hams, your Brightons, your Spurs are pushing and challenging and beating top 3 teams, as you see with City, and as they should. This is what you want. You want a competitive league. No one wants to see just one team run away with it. You want to see teams taking points off each other and the whole thing being up in the air, competitive.
Sorry, John, just quickly before you jump in, the reason I asked this question is because I actually think this is what is going to grow. There's a number of reasons why the women's football will grow, but this, obviously, in previous years, there was no real in the Premier League, for example, in the men's side. If you're supporting, let's say, Brentford or Villa, Newcastle, you go to games with that optimism that maybe you could take a scalp off the top team. You go to Villa did it at Old Trafford a few weeks ago. Now, you see that, and like I said, as a Premier League fan, you see smaller teams. Anyone can beat anyone. Whereas in the WSL over previous years, you just know when Arsenal, Chelsea, or City in previous years play teams in the bottom half, you just know they're gonna beat them. So there was no real need or want for the fans to go to games. Like if you're say a Reading or a Birmingham or Leicester, just because they're near the bottom at the moment, to go to games because you're like, well, we're going to lose. So that I feel like that is a good way of the sport growing because of the competitive nature of the league. I obviously, as a United fan, I want us to win the league and win everything. But it's good to see a bit more kind of competitive nature in it, and I think that is going to really help, especially with the Sky BBC influence. Sorry, John. Go.
Yeah, no, I agree with the point that you made, and you are right that would work. However, these are still massive upsets. I mean, if you follow bookmakers, they had West Ham to lose against City, something like 25-1, which is massive amount of odds. So that was just one game. I can't remember the rest, but check out Anthony's odds on show if you want to see some of those odds. But they are still massive upsets. Look, I think every team could go in thinking that they're going to win anybody. However, sometimes it's just like damage limitation. You just have to put 11 players behind the ball. Touching on your first point, the league is massively getting stronger. If you ever look at the amount of foreign players there who are coming across because of how high profile the game is as well. So not just because we're necessarily the best league, but we're definitely investing the most. We're definitely high profile. We're on the TV. Everyone knows our clubs. We've recently now got like 3 teams in the Champions League and not just 2. So across Europe, we're spreading out there as well. Natalie mentioned some of the Swedish players who obviously got silver in the Olympics. They've come over to Everton, and no disrespect to Everton on this one occasion, but Everton aren't a massive team. They're still building themselves. They'd like to get to that stage, but they're not massive. They're a mid-table team basically, and like you just kind of some of the teams at the bottom are getting stronger. So it is a lot more competitive. But I think when the likes of Arsenal, City, Chelsea lose, then it is still a massive upset.
Yeah, I do think there's some sort of consistency and a lot more competition, actually, is what you've said here. So just looking at last season's results, obviously Chelsea, Man City on top, Arsenal fairly close behind, Man United in 4th, and Everton in 5th, and you got Brighton as well. And you mentioned earlier, Natalie, that they've had quite a bit of an investment. And obviously they're really keen on bringing both the men's. We've seen what they've done under the men's side, and with Graham Potter, and we can obviously see what they're doing in the women's side as well, and that's really good to see. So just for an example as well, at the moment Brighton are sitting in 5th. We're obviously one place above. I know it's still early doors, but there is some consistency. The teams that I can see within the top 10 are pretty much the teams that are in the top 10, and that's a massive amount. Listen, we criticise a lot of the time, especially if you're not in it, like Arsenal, but seeing these top 4, 5, 6 teams competing can get a little bit stale, and you want to see a little bit of competition. This is why the Championship is so difficult to get out of, because you've got 24 teams that are a relatively similar and have got the same sort of investment, and that's a good thing to see. You want that competition in the Premier League, and I wish we saw more of it. I know it would be a detriment to maybe Man United getting anywhere nearer a trophy from a men's side of things, but you want to see that competition. There's nothing better than being able to compete for something against lots of teams and really win it. Okay, so really, really good to see. So obviously we've talked about what the points expectations coming into the next few games, and obviously what about the FA Cup? Where did we come? The League Cup equivalent, Natalie, as you mentioned. Where did we come in that last season, and what would your expectations be for this?
Last season we got knocked out at the group stage. Wasn't good enough. I think we lost to Liverpool, who were in the league below. We drew to City at home. And I think if we had won that, we had a lot of chances in that game. We had won that. we would have gone through. City went through. So obviously, but 2 seasons before that, we have actually got to the semi-final both times. And we've then come up against a Chelsea and an Arsenal, and they've just narrowly beat us by 1 goal both times. So I think if we can definitely get out of this group, it's going to be a tough group. We need to win every game. We need to beat City at home. We need to beat Durham away. We can't slip up. But if we can come out of that group, which I'm confident of, and then it's knockout again. So it goes into quarterfinal, semi-final, final. The final's played at a neutral venue. So, it'll be like 2 teams behind each end, proper up for it. And yeah, I think that this is probably one of the best chances for a trophy. I think this and the FA Cup. I mean, I've seen a comment from Ugly Bear saying he thinks that if we can get our act together in the final third, there's a chance we can win WSL. Maybe, City, when I expected City to be sitting in 9th, 10th, so there could be a chance of us winning the WSL. I don't see it, to be honest. But I think if we do get that Champions League spot, then next year you can talk about winning the WSL, because I think even in the men's game, we see it. Once you're in Champions League, you attract a different kind of top player, then players that only want to play in the Champions League, and then you're talking about, boom, right, we want to play in the Champions League, we want to go far in that, and then we want to win the league and do this, qualify again for the Champions League. And I think that's just where we're at now, say, with the women's side. So if you sort of think back with the men's side, we were sort of, looking and hoping to be qualifying regularly for the Champions League. That's where we're at now with the women, and we want to be qualifying for the Champions League. And I mean, I'd take any cup. I love trophy. Obviously, you want to win trophies. But for me, I'd probably even say for the women, I'd take a 3rd place finish, which is Champions League football, over.
I was about to ask you, actually. So top 3 positions is it for the Champions League? And bearing in mind as well, obviously, clubs and brands are formulating a lot of their women's teams. And obviously, that's progressively getting more and more. And I've just noticed here, actually, this season, in all of the groups last season in that Carling Cup equivalent, there was only ever 4 teams within a group. However, Group A, Group B, Group C, Group A and Group B, which one of them United's in, they've got 5 teams this year. So obviously, it's increasing, becoming bigger, lots more investment, and that's great to see. Just want to read out a couple of comments quickly. So here, I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Apologies if it's wrong in any way. I'm new to women's football, and this channel and Nat are my only helping hand, and I really appreciate that. Thanks for the comment, and great to see you joining in. And obviously, this is testament again to Natalie and Jonathan, who do some superb stuff in the women's side of the channel. Clubs are starting to invest more in their women's team. Obviously, we touched upon this earlier. Really good to see, and it needs to become an even keel. Really good to see. Joined late, maybe. It is already covered, but I wonder how United was not able to hold a 2-1 lead with an extra player. Jonathan, good question. Can you answer that one?
It's a great question. Look, I think we've touched on it. City have still got some amazing players. Their first 11 are more experienced and better quality of our first 11. We still are going through a transitional period where we're still learning our style of play. And obviously, we made mistakes at the back, which we still, which we've done all season, throughout the season. It does happen. I'll be more looking at it the opposite way, saying, why didn't we create more chances and get through one goal a bit more? And why didn't we score earlier? Why did we leave it so late to score 2 goals? But obviously, that's like a bit of a negative spin on it. We've already mentioned earlier, a 2-2 draw against a team that should be finishing above us isn't too bad.
So it wasn't a management and it wasn't a defensive midfielder problem. See, that's good to see, and that's exactly the kind of attitude I want to hear. Go on, Connor, you're desperate to come in there, mate.
I can answer it. I mean, people might disagree, whatever. I've set myself a target at 20 seconds here. We just didn't move the ball quick enough. And against 10 players, it's very easy to defend when you're moving. When you're trying to switch the play from Hannah to Honor, our 2 fullbacks, and you've got to go through the 2 centre-backs to get there, City just shift across. And it's very easy. So you're going from left to right, City just shift across, and player advantage is irrelevant because you're moving the ball so slow. All City need to do was just keep shifting left to right, and we were very easy. But Skinner is well aware of that because Nat had a nice chat with him after the full-time whistle. So,
oh wow,
yeah, definitely a positive spin on it. He's well aware. But yeah, it literally was. We just weren't quick enough. But like I said, you don't need to go in on the players and the coach staff. They know that, and we didn't lose. So I think that's the way of looking at it.
But that goal, don't forget though, Mary Earps made a fantastic save. She saved it, bounced off the post, and it just 50-50. It fell to Ellen White instead of our player. So, he didn't. He talked about small margins, but that was a fantastic strike outside the box, an even better save. The goalkeeper saved it, but it just bounced off the bar to somebody else, and it could have been as easy as that. So for me, instead of coming to that we should have scored an extra one or an extra two. That's the way I would have looked at it.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on what Connor just said. Sorry, Mark.
No, go for it.
He says, we talk about how close we are and how we can speak to them, and I think Skinner had just had an interview with BBC. I know John says it, and he says we didn't move the ball quick enough, and then obviously he came over to an area where it was just as the fans were coming out, and obviously I had just sort of saw him, he waved, and I sort of said, no, you didn't move the ball quick enough. And I think, if he's just said it, obviously I didn't see his interview, and then we've come and said, come on, boss, move it quicker, and he knew, he knows. I think it'll take time for the players to play fully, like what Connor says earlier, fully the way he wants. And so, like you say, I don't think we're in our full capacity performance, stellar performances. Yeah, I expect that towards the latter end, maybe.
Can I just say as well, I think Skinner touched on this in his interview. He's only like 70 days into the job. Like, it's crazy amount of like the short time he's been in. So if there are any Man United fans coming from the men's to the women's, I've had to learn this very quickly, is to just not lower your expectations, but just temper them a little bit. Because I think it's very easy as a United fan coming across, because I think I fell into this when I did. It's like, we're Man United, we should be beating these. Not necessarily. We're along City, Chelsea and Arsenal have had a massive head start. What are we, John, now 3-4 years into this project? We're still behind, and the fact we're able to, in my opinion, to even compete shows how far we've gone in the short period of time. Like you said, Emma Hayes has been manager of Chelsea longer than Man United have been a club in the women's game, so you can't compare the two teams. So yeah, I think that's just the main thing. Don't lower your expectations, but just temper them a little bit if you are going to come across, because we shouldn't just be beating these just because we're United and we're a player up. Like I said, that City's 11 that was out there is probably still matching ours anyway. So, yeah, I think just temper them just a little bit. That's all I'd say.
Great words, Connor. Thank you very much for that. I just want to point this comment out. Connor is Skinner's mate. I think you might find Skinner is Connor's mate, but there you go. So just a couple more comments I wanted to read out. So I think this was off the back of Natalie's comment earlier. She's still unsure of whether we're really there to challenge for the title. But Jonathan, is there no chance of the women's team and they can't compete for the title this season?
There is a chance, of course, there's a chance, but we basically need to win every game, and then when we come across the top three, win those as well, because of the points difference already. So it is possible, but the reason why those top three teams are there is because the strength of the squad that they've got. They've got 2 first teams, whereas we've got maybe like 15, 16 players. They've got like 23 top quality players. So, they can make changes quite easily. And they've also got a lot of stability now. I'm referring to Chelsea on that one. The Arsenal manager has come in and hit the ground running, signed Toby and Heath. So Arsenal looking very, very good. And Man City not so good. So there's a good chance that we might pick Man City. But we know that when Man City players come back from injury, that squad is stronger than potentially what they had last season. So could quite easily get back into the top 3. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking at their squad. There's a reason why that they finish in the top 3 every year. It's because they've got more experience, more stability, and just that touch of class that we haven't potentially got yet. But, if we keep on doing what we're doing and we do keep on getting better throughout the season, then, yeah, it's definitely possible.
Great stuff. Thanks for that, Jonathan. Just want to read a few more things out, and then Connor wants to come in and talk about stadiums. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. It's really good to see some familiar faces. Really good to see some of the guests and watchers from the women's side. Brilliant, and obviously we want all of our watchers to go over to them too and watch their great shows. Just some more comments. As I said, I'm fairly new to the women's game, but from what I've seen, I don't think Chelsea or Arsenal are miles ahead of the Man United women. I think if we can get our act together in the final third, there is a chance to win the WSL. We have to remember MUFC women I think we are in our third season. So this was in retrospect to what you were talking about earlier. We're still in an infancy. Despite that, we should beat most teams in the WSL, and I think you've got to remember that. Connor, you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier that we do need to temper our viewpoints. Manchester United is obviously a massive brand, but we are only 3 years in, and there's so much room for exponential growth that hopefully we'll see in the next few seasons to come. Great show, lads and lasses. Obviously, Natalie, loving it. Thanks for covering my question. No problem at all. Great to have you on board, and please tune in again next month. We'll be doing another one of these shows, obviously, as we said before, every month. So come back again. We'll keep you posted and let you know when we're coming back on. Man United, obviously, is a brand. This is a very good point, Jarvis. Have great pulling power. If we can get to the Champions League next year, get that top 3 place, we'll be competing in no time. And you absolutely said that earlier, Nat. That's exactly what you said, and that is the idea, isn't it? Progression, building upon it, and getting that third spot, getting in the Champions League, and then getting those players outside of the country to really sort of push the team up that bit more. Yes, Connor, you wanted to talk about stadiums. Go on.
Before I quickly go on to that, I just want to say the way you phrase that then, exponential growth, you sound like Skinner in the way that he talks about the growth of the team and the birth of the team. It's brilliant.
He's my mate too.
Wow, you're going to be fighting your number one fan
He
status
got
off
that
John,
from
I
me.
think.
To say no.
I just wanted to briefly. I don't want to go too much into this because there is a show. I'm going to plug a show on the women's channel. I think it was a few weeks ago about this. It might have even been last week about this very thing. About obviously we've seen this year about the use of the men's stadiums in the women's game. Now, I obviously as a men's football fan first, obviously I've come across. Initially I thought it was a good thing. So I thought, oh great, I get to go to some more men's stadiums following the women's team. Whatever, but the more I've done it, the less attractive I'm finding it, to the point where now I'm saying I actually want to go to some of these smaller grounds because we obviously went Birmingham away, Leicester away, and although they were great, got the good result as well, but the atmosphere just seemed a bit drowned out because of the size of the stadium and because there's only, let's say, a few hundred of us, maybe 100 of us that chant all game. I don't know. Do you guys feel like that's a good step for this season, or do you think that should be pushed down the line? Let's fill out, LSV, obviously, from a United standpoint, and some of these smaller grounds before we start looking at that?
For me, LSV is on the point of selling out. The fact that, I know only it was nearly 4,000 came, but, that place, I have never seen that place like that on Saturday. I'm telling you, I've never seen it. And I've gone from the very first game. I've probably only missed 1 or 2 games, and one of them I had COVID, So I've missed 2 games at LSV, and one of them I had COVID. So I've never seen it packed like that. Probably the only time was the very, very first game when it first opened, and it had everyone, but everyone was sitting down. And this time, everyone was on their feet, kind of like you said. It was chanting. I think where we were standing, it was sort of like, you're saying it's like being in the Red Army, where everyone jumped up and celebrated that goal when Russo scored, and people saying it was so loud when she scored. And if you look around the whole stadium was singing, the whole stadium was bouncing. And I feel like if anyone was there, they would feel that they'd feel that connection, and they'd want to come back to it. Because I think when a stadium's rocking, it's better having 3,000 people all being close to a ground, to the pitch and singing, and it's better 3,000 and say I think it's 8,000 or 10,000 LSV than having 3,000 in like a 50,000 or Old Trafford. If we had, I think we get more than 3,000. But I want people who are know the songs. I'm not saying that you have to know the songs to come, because obviously you'll learn them straight away, but I want people who have that energy, who have that passion. And I'd have you could have 50,000 sitting down at Old Trafford, but I'd still prefer that singing, that energy, that passion kind of thing. And I think we're growing it. I think we will get there. I know we've had a show, me and John, on the women's side, and we've talked about it. But I think, and it was sort of like, well, you'll get more people at Old Trafford quicker. Yeah, we will, but you want it organic. I want to grow it, and I think we can sell out LSV. I think we will. And I'm sorry if I've ranted on too long.
No, don't apologise. Great to hear that. And you know what? Just to kind of epitomise what you've just said, And what Connor said too, obviously, agree, Connor, to compare it to music, sometimes the smaller venues make the best spectacles. I was impressed by how nice the ground was and the atmosphere was terrific. Listen, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. Wonderful to have you all again. I'm looking forward to the next one in a month's time, give or take. Might not be a month exactly. So keep your eyes peeled for that. When's the next game that's got tickets available? Durham, I should imagine, sold out.
Thursday night. Come on, if you need to live from the West Midlands, I'm going up. So
this Thursday.
Yeah, 2 days.
Well, I tell you what. Let me have a look on the website tonight. Let me get a ticket. Come pick me up, and I'll come up with you. Yeah, seriously. So anyway, listen. Thanks everybody tuning in. Thanks for that, Karen. Really appreciate that. We'll see you in a month's time. But just so you're aware, I think we've got a tactical preview on Thursday night. I think James is hosting that one. Got some good guests on there. I think Timeline Talks on this Friday, but I'm not sure of that. I think it is. Don't quote me. And then on Sunday, we've got a very special uncut with yours truly hosting. Hopefully get some of these guys on again. And I've also got a very, hopefully, special guest coming on that Sunday as well. And if you're in the comments all the time, you may or may not know who that is. Listen, great to have you all on, as I said, and we'll see you very, very soon.